Bust it. Shake and bake and pull it back.
Oh my God.
Let me show you something. Hold on and get some, boys.
That is why they come big.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, party people? It's Wednesday.
What's up, you Tumanites and long boxers? Welcome to Lords of the Long Box Giant Size episode 150.
150.
Yes. For those who have been with this channel since the beginning, yes, you are aware this is our 150th live show ever since we started with a little show called Lords of the Round Table. We were unceremoniously terminated even before Copper came out. So who knows? We may get terminated again and start this all over again. But welcome. A happy new comic book day to you. Happy belated Thanksgiving Day. Happy all that stuff. Want to welcome my motley cast of characters. Welcome back, returning champion, Milton the M-Animal. Say what's up.
What's going on, everyone? Good to see you on this Wednesday. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
That's right. And also my man, Nemesis Prime. Say what's up.
This is the way.
Okay, Mandalorian. Thank you very much. For those who haven't watched The Mandalorian, you're probably wondering what the fuck this guy's doing. Dark Side Jedi, back producing the mostest. Say what's up.
Producing. Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? Amazing auction last Friday. Amazing auction, guys. Thanks for everybody who came out.
Definitely.
All your books have been sent out today, and expect more upcoming events like that one.
I mailed mine out on the kiosk on Saturday, actually. So they went out first thing Monday morning. But first of all, shout out to everybody in the live chat. My man Sith Lordly's holding it down with the wrench, tailgating. Chad Crow, Al Picknell. Sith Lordly again. Sorry, I'm just repeating myself. Pops Foster, big shout out to Pops Foster and the Lord's Spec investing group. I think it's what it's called now. Alex Perez, C. Woodard. The Butcher 105, Scott Polachek. God, I'm trying to name you guys off because it's growing to like 50 people. A man from Beantown, Gabriel Fonseca, Henry Henze, Captain Crunch. Yes, thank you everybody who have participated in our annual Black Friday auction. I think it went off well.
Yeah,
5 hours went by. It seemed like it was just 4 hours,
Like
to be
that.
honest with you.
Like that. And it was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
Yeah. So welcome to the 150th show, which is sponsored by KRSComics.com. Go to KRSComics.com. Use discount code of LOTLB to get 10% off any KRS Comics exclusives. Also, the show is brought to you by thegeekyswagshop.com. Right now, they're having a special Cyber Week deal. You can get this hoodie that I have on right now. This is the nicer soft plush one. It's 20% off, so it's $40. If you want the pullover, it's $32. Please go over, support our sponsor, the Geeky Swag Shop. They've been nothing but cool with us. They hooked us up with t-shirts and stuff, and they've been making t-shirts for the rest of you guys out there. So I thought I'd get some sweatshirts made for wintertime. It's getting chilly out there, y'all.
Yeah.
Also, the show is sponsored by our friends at RocketComics.com. Go to RocketComics.com. Tell them the Lords of the Long Box sent you to get 20% off your first pressing order and then 10% off any pressing orders after that. The con season's coming up. I'm going to see Scott actually next month in January. So in 2 months from now, we're going to see him out there at the Yorba Linda Comic-Con that's in Costa Mesa this year. And we're going to hit up Taranko for some SIGs. So if you need any pressing, facilitating needs, hit up your man, Rocket Comics. I'll be there with them at the Costa Mesa show. Then after that, he's going to C2. It's like in January. I always remember because it's cold.
I'm going to send you a book, bro.
All right. Yeah, so it's jumping.
Rocket.
It's the biggest little show I've ever been to. You see nothing. It's funny because I just went from Bakersfield Comic-Con that didn't have Hulk 181. This show will at least have 10 AF-15s. That's how big it is.
Wow.
It's big between dealers.
Well,
It's
I need
huge.
Steranko on my Foom number 2. That's all.
There you go.
Yeah.
That sounds rather personal, actually. But
Yes,
I don't care what you call your
I heard
penis.
he's a nice
man.
guy. What can I say?
You can call your penis Foom or Black and Decker Pecker Wrecker. I don't care what you call it. But if you want to call it Foom, that's your business. So, so hit up Rocket Comics. And I think that's it, man. We're working on a new sponsor that I hope to get to you. They're working on the discount code right now. And I'd be excited to break this news with you guys as soon as it happens because I think you guys will appreciate it. They sell lots and lots of slabs and stuff. I think is. All right, so yeah, this is a 150th episode. We got some news that we want to perhaps debunk or verify. We also have a long-term spec list. I don't know if you guys saw some other stuff that came out today, but I'm going to talk about this because not many people have been talking about this. But Throw up the first graphic, Ryan. Let me talk about some stuff.
There you go.
All right, boys and girls. Is it up?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh yeah.
Can't
So
watch.
people have been asking me about this, and there was reports. I think our friend Jesse also did a video about this, and he was asking about how true it is. But basically, there was a rumor going around that Doom War, it had morphed into Doctor Doom, was going to be the villain in Black Panther 2. So I reached out to a source we haven't really talked about on the show for a while, our friend the Black Knight, who reached inside of his Marvel sources, and I was able to get to this. According to several insiders that the Black Knight spoke to, Doctor Doom will not be the villain in the upcoming Black Panther 2 movie. The script is still being written, so whatever leaks appearing now are not true. A few months ago, Ryan Coogler did ask whether Namor is available. So the Black Knight's assuming his involvement in the movie is still in the works, with ongoing conversation about the Rock's schedule. People close to the project tell him that Kevin Feige is building up to Doctor Doom. Marvel Studios rarely uses a villain more than once, with Loki being the most consistent. However, Loki rides a balancing act between good and evil and is more of a supporting character, kind of anti-hero. And Thanos was the big bad in an epic so large it was split into 2 back-to-back movies, and if you think about it, really over 10 years. Feige wants Doom to be fresh when he fights the Fantastic Four. So there you go. I reached out and tried to confirm this rumor about Doctor Doom being the villain of Black Panther 2, and as we first reported, they still want to use Namor, and we originally broke this on the channel relaunch that they wanted to do Atlantis Attacks, Wakanda versus Atlantis. So there you go, man. So if you think about it, Doom doesn't really have that much of a history with Black Panther. I mean, if you think about it, not really either does Namor. But if you think about the land of Latveria versus Wakanda in Atlantis Attacks, so that happens. I mean, there's a point, and this is somewhat in the modern times. I think what happens is there was a meeting between the leaders of Latveria and of Atlantis, and they killed some of the leaders of Wakanda or vice versa, and it started this war. And then there's also the Atlantis Attack. So that's a good way to introduce Namor. And think about it, even though The Rock is still doing Black Adam, he can still be a villain, that takes less time. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think about,
now that Disney owns Fox and Fantastic Four and all those things, my dream of the Illuminati may come true. I want to see that on screen so bad.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I was going to say, if you were going to introduce Doctor Doom outside of Fantastic Four, I think I'd rather see him introduced in a Doctor Strange type scenario. So then you can kind of get, because one of the things we've never seen with Doom in terms of the movies is his supernatural aspect, the magic part. I think it'd be cool if you were going to show him up rather than Black Panther, have him interact with Doctor Strange and get that magic on par with, his character.
I do believe that is a segue, because apparently Manimal did not watch our show where we said Triumph and Torment was being developed in a Doctor Strange.
I was on that show. I set you up right there, bro. Come on.
There you go. Yeah. So one of our specs was that Triumph and Torment, it's a standalone graphic novel basically about Doctor Doom trying to get his mother's soul back from Mephisto, and it features Doctor Strange, and that's like full-blown Doctor Doom at the height of his sorcery powers. A lot of people don't just think of him as a kind of a techno bot, right? I mean, he's all a tech, but he dabbles a lot in sorcery, and at one point he was one of the more powerful sorcerers in the MCU. And if you've been following what they're doing, man, they're going heavy into the sorcery stuff. I mean, Scarlet Witch is going to go full-on powers, supernatural powers. So I think that's where they're going. It kind of makes sense that you can have that in part 2. But it adds up our spec that Doctor Doom was going to be an integral part of the Secret Wars storyline. If you remember, not the original Secret Wars, but 2015 Secret Wars, Doom was a big part of that. Well, actually, I think about it, Doctor Doom was a big part of the first one too, right? I mean, the first. I mean, so Doom is there. Shout out to JN Guy 1, Imperious Rex. I know he's a big Namor fan. I know our friend JN Guy really loves Namor and the Speedo. Come on, John. Just tell how it is. We're gonna have my friend John, my man John, on the show to talk to you kids about original art. Because, he is killing it. I don't know if you've seen that color X-Men piece he just got. Jesus, that is incredible. Rarely do I see OA where they just go full color.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was really cool. Really cool.
That is impressive. But let's get right up to the next one, boys. I got a little spec list of some stuff that's being developed mostly for DC, but it's a really interesting Marvel character that they just reserved that I am super stoked for. Drop the graphic on them, Ryan.
Sorry.
That's right, boys and girls. Sergeant Rock and another character being developed for the Legends of Tomorrow. First appearance of Sergeant Rock is... Go ahead, man. I'm going to hit it with them.
So we got first appearance for Sergeant Rock is going to be Army at War 81. And yeah, you know, this is kind of one of those a little bit more obscure characters in the DC universe, you know, them kind of like staying away from the superhero stuff, but being a little bit, you know, the more war stories. And obviously the next character kind of ties in with that as well.
Yeah, our Army of War number 81 is the first appearance of Sergeant Rock. There is a little controversy on this. The DC Encyclopedia that came out a couple of years ago retconned his first appearance. A lot of collectors have our Army at War number 83 as the first appearance of Sergeant Rock, but DC actually came out with their encyclopedia. And if you look at all the DC web pages now, this is officially the first appearance. We got any sales data on this, Justin?
Yeah, as you can see, I mean, last sold 6.0, $532 was not bad in an old school Silver Age book. But like you said, I mean, that 83, it also tiptoes on that 83 as well. But this is definitely the book to go to, guys, is the 81.
Yeah. And then, you know, this seems like a kind of wonky book to put spec on, but this has been reserved by Berlanti for Legends of Tomorrow. And if you think about the Legends of Tomorrow show, they kind of go all over the DC universe because they travel in space and time, right? I mean, it's kind of really all over the place. That's why it's kind of this fun book to go
with the like the Jonah Hex stuff they did, you know, like the couple episodes where they dipped into Jonah Hex's time. I mean, yeah, you dip in and out of this little universe, bring him in for a couple episodes here and there, it'd be cool.
Yeah, and there's another warlike character, Ryan. What is it?
It's an unknown soldier. And this is an interesting one to me because I'm unknown to this character.
So, you know, we got it when we research this stuff. Sometimes you got to dig a little bit deeper.
I mean, this is definitely a deep cut.
Yeah. So the unknown soldier is also being reserved for Legends of Tomorrow. So you'll have to really search because there's multiple versions of it. But this is the first appearance of the unknown soldier that we're going with simply because I think it's a dope cover. What do you tell us about this book there, Manimal?
So, yeah, like Ryan said, you know, this is another kind of obscure soldier character in the DC universe. Basically, like his name says, it's a guy who was part of the army. And you never find out his name. He gets injured in war, and he kind of becomes like this CIA type agent where he becomes like good at disguise and espionage. Of course, he's good with hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. No real powers, so to speak, but, you know, a cool another little character.
Yeah, what probably people new to the hobby or comics don't realize is that, man, war and horror comics were huge in the Silver Age, especially right after World War II. There was tons of war comics. Scott Pollitt brings up a good thing. He brings up Ghost Tank. Remember Ghost Tank? Remember that was another weird DC book. Marvel had a lot of war books as well. I mean, if you think about, you know, Nick Fury started as a soldier. He was Sergeant Fury before he became Colonel Fury. What kind of sales data we're looking at for the first appearance of the unknown soldier who actually has a name?
Yeah, last one sold actually was this month, 7.5 for $210. And like Manimal said, I mean, these books are definitely nice to have, especially with Legends of Tomorrow. You had that one season where they had Justice Society of America, you know, and now we're even getting into the war era. So I expect some good things out of these books.
Yeah. Speaking of the Justice Society of America, go watch our video from last week. Got a lot of good Silver Age spec on.
You know what's interesting? I saw Funko is releasing a Alan Scott Funko Pop. So a little bit of foreshadowing maybe.
And speaking of which, we're going to segue into Crisis of Infinite Earths, which really kicked off kind of last week, man, with the Arrow and the Flash. I'm really looking excited to it. So we decided, are we going to go live after the first show and do a recap of it?
Yeah, after the first two, because Sunday's Supergirl
right?
and
Yes.
Batwoman and Supergirl. So
I'll have to watch it early because I will somehow have to watch it because you guys be 2 and 3 hours ahead of me. So
I'll Wirecast it. We can all watch it together.
there you go.
No, we're not going to do that. We're
No, not
doing it in the
live. I'm
basement.
just saying.
I was going to say, man.
Whoa.
Boom. You know,
I can't
Give a
promise
before and
that-
after show.
Man, that was
I
funny.
can't promise I won't be a little tipsy because that's my birthday on Sunday. So
Oh,
Oh.
look at you.
Be doing a little
Well,
drinking. So
Crisis on Drunken Earth. I like it. Let's do it. You guys come in here because remember we started this kind of review on, and then we realized there wasn't much happening, man. So we're gonna wait until the crisis starts. But it looks like it's full bore now, man. It looks pretty good. I was really the last episode of Arrow and Flash. Excellent. Can't wait. They built it up real nice, man. So don't let us. You know, I was thinking when I was watching this, I was like, this should have been on the big screen. This should have been DC's Infinity War and Endgame. Can you think DC does 10 years worth of films and they culminated with Crisis and
that
Infinite
would have
Earths.
been really cool. Yeah, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. You know what? They still can do it, right?
Yeah,
They
I
can
mean,
do something.
that may have been the plan. Man,
Right.
if they would have executed on that, that would have been right up there. If they would have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, everybody in Infinite Earths, kill off some characters, reboot it, and do it again. But oh well. Well, what we do have is the next one. I want to talk about this one. So this one is a little bit outside of the Spec realm. This is so if you didn't watch it, really cool James Bond trailer dropped today. By the way, there was a Black Widow trailer to drop. We didn't even talk about that, but tons of people already talked about it. It's by the time it got to us on this Wednesday, it's old news already. But what I want to talk about is the James Bond trailer that dropped and the possible speculation that there is a villain in that trailer that looks a lot like a villain in the James Bond comic book. That's right, boys and girls. There is that character, and I took a screenshot of the actual comic it comes from. It's from Mike Grell, who of course is famous for what did he do? Grendel, right? Mike Grell did Grendel, and Mike Grell also
really
did
good
Green Arrow,
too.
the Longbow Hunters, right? That's Mike Grell. That's the villain there that is in that comic book that looks a lot like Rami Malek. I'm not saying it is or not. It could be, but it would be a cool little book to get just in case it pops. But, you know, who the hell has Permission to Die by Mike Grell as a comic book? I believe it was even a 4-issue miniseries. I'm trying to remember. So it was written and illustrated by Mike Grell. This little known comic book, James Bond, right? I mean, if it looks like it,
I didn't even know they had James Bond.
Oh, Mac Wagner did Grendel. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to think who Mike Grell worked on a independent book, and I can't think about it.
Didn't he do a lot on Hellboy?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. But Mike Grell has been I know he did Arrow, but he also did a I'm gonna do it now because now I can't stop thinking about it, what he's famous for, because it's gonna drive me nuts. As we were just going live here.
Early Warlord? That's what Scott Palachuk said.
Yeah. Yeah, but most famously, obviously, is Green Arrow, Warlord 2. So there's a lot of cool stuff he did. He did this weird little James Bond comic. I mean, if you think about it now, I think they're still publishing James Bond comics to this very day. I think it's either IDW or is it Boom Entertainment, one of the two that has these licenses, and they're still making comic books for them. But you know what? Just like Mission Impossible, I love me some James Bond films, man. Not so much a Bourne fan because the camera shakes too much. But when Brad Bird did the 2 Mission Impossible films, awesome. And pretty much for all you gearheads out there, there are going to be 4 versions of the Aston Martin in the new James Bond movie. I looked that up today because there was a sick ass classic vintage Aston Martin that if you saw the trailer on that had the dual guns on the front of it. They're going to do 4 of them, including a concept Aston Martin that they haven't shown yet. Dope. If you don't know, Aston Martin is James Bond's car, but that's an interesting little spec book. It's called James Bond Permission to Die. So go peep that out at your shops, man, if you can. I doubt you can find it. But next up is what we like to call a double spec, because we've already talked about this.
Yes, we have. Obnoxio the Clown.
Oh my God, yeah. So when we spec this the first time, everybody laughed at us and we laughed at it too. But I'm finding out now from our source, the Black Knight, that Obnoxio the Clown is being developed to appear in Howard the Duck, the animated series for Hulu. So we know that, remember, Hulu is doing these animated series. We just found out today also like the Tigra and show that was doing Chelsea Handler, they fired all the showrunners on it and they're finding a new showrunner for it. So it looks like Kevin Feige's like, look, I don't like what you guys are doing. I'm taking over this. But Obnoxio the Clown, remember we talked about his first appearances. There's quite a few actually. So there's Obnoxio the Clown number 1. He's also appears in What If, and he also appears in Crazy Magazine. But what do you got about this first appearance there, Milton? This is a weird book.
This character I had never heard of in my life, and I had to look it up. The link you gave me for that wiki. There really is nothing about this guy. I mean, this wiki I could probably read it right here, and you would have no information. I mean, he's a clown who interacts with Howard the Duck, and his only good quality is dependability. Once hired for a job, he always shows up. So that's really all they have to say about this guy.
So let's give the kids some context on Abonaxo the Clown. So if you think back to the 70s, there was a magazine called Mad Magazine, and they had a mascot, right, named Alfred E. Newman. Marvel came out with a parody magazine called Crazy, and Abonaxo was kind of their loosely based, I guess, mascot. But he eventually kind of ciphered through and made it through like some weird issues of like What If, What the, and then eventually it was Abonaxo the Clown versus the X-Men, because back in the Copper Age, anything with the X-Men sold. So sales data on this is weird, but Justin, what can people go look at right exactly now?
I mean, if you really want to buy this book, guys, there's a 9.8 right now on eBay for $79.99. Other than that, raw books are like under $10. But you know what? We always say if you can get a 9.8 for under $100, just spend that hundo and get it.
It is available right now for $79.99. I want to see what you guys do, and after the show's over, I want to see if that book is still listed for $79.99. You know what I mean? And right now is the time for creepy clowns. You got the Joker, you got it. What's his name? Pennywise. Perfect time for Abonaxo, right? And you could already tell this is the Hulu stuff is going to be adult themed, because Abonaxo is not very kid friendly. I mean, he's got a dead kitty pride right there on his chest. But this list is going to get progressively weirder and weirder.
The clown reminds me of Yucko from Howard Stern.
Yucko the Clown.
Yeah.
You heard it from Ryan's ears to your lips, or vice versa. Ryan's lips to your ears. The next book I am kind of excited about. This character has a cult following, and it's about time they give this character some love, man. Next up, being reserved, is Bats the Ghost Dog. That's right, boys and girls. If you've read this, I forgot who wrote it. But anyway, this is a great story about when Doctor Strange became a veterinarian and he had a dog. Well, the dog, spoiler alert, gets killed and becomes a ghost. So that's when he becomes Bats the Ghost Dog. So first appearance is an easy book to find. What can you tell us about him, Animal?
So Bats the Basset Hound was actually created by our good friend Donnie Cates, and
shout out to Donnie Cates.
And so so Bats, basically, like Tebow said, of course, you make a dog, you kill that dog. That's what everyone does in any form of literary.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like the worst thing in the world. But he bats around a little bit, no pun intended, in the series. He most recently was actually seen in the Wolverine Infinity Watch miniseries, where he assists Loki and Wolverine tracking down an Infinity Stone. But yeah, and it's a funny little scene too, where he actually communicates with Cosmo, the Russian dog cosmonaut. So that was kind of cool. But yeah.
Didn't I think Loki's the one that killed him too?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so he interacted with Loki a lot with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's messed up. What kind of sales data is on this, Justin? I would imagine these are pretty plentiful.
Surprisingly, as you can see, a 9.8 only went for $60 for our main Donnie Fuckface Cates. 9.8.
That's his name? Oh, okay. Well, there you go, man. I enjoyed this Doctor Strange run, and the reason why it's issue 381, it's not. It's like issue 20 something. This is when they started doing the legacy reboots. So really, they counted up
variants too for this book. If you guys look, so there's there's a lenticular cover. There's like the face ones that they did, and 1 in 25. So definitely a lot. Excuse me, a lot out there.
Yeah, it's a cool little character, that man. I like Bats the dog, and he's being reserved for TV and film. So let me go back. So Sergeant Rock, Unknown Soldier are being reserved for the Legends of Tomorrow. Abonaxo the Clown is being reserved for Howard the Duck. Bats the Ghost Dog is being reserved for film and TV. So that makes you think that he could appear in perhaps WandaVision or some other supernatural show, and possibly Doctor Strange #2. He's definitely a Doctor Strange character. It's his freaking dog, but that'd be awesome that they're going to reserve him for that. I'm not saying he's going to have a major role. It's just a cool little thing to collect when you're out there in the wild looking at stuff. When you're digging in them long boxes, have something to dig for.
Little editor's note. Keep in mind, this is the first cameo, 381, and the first full appearance is number 382.
There you go. 382, 381. There's still a great run, man, of Doctor Strange. He ends up becoming, if you've been reading Doctor Strange, he eventually becomes a Herald of Galactus. Like everybody is apparently a Herald of Galactus nowadays, including somebody else in a What If issue. Anyway. All right. Next up is some DC books that are being reserved for TV. I don't know what though, but what we do is sometimes we just get a list that they say, hey, these characters are going to be reserved. They want to use it for TV. And we kind of have to piece it together on what we think it is. And I think I can guess what this one is, but pop it up there, man. What are we looking at next? We are looking at the first appearance of Barry Winters. First appearance is Manimal. Hit it up.
So his first appearance is going to be New Teen Titans 21, which here in a second I'll let Ryan take over and talk about why that book's a little bit more important. But Baron Winters, he's just kind of your typical sorcerer, but he does have some ties with some biblical characters, running the Adam and Eve kind of storylines. He's kind of got a little Doctor Who-esque to him where he fills a role and there's like there's other characters who fill this role of being like a gateway of spirits. On a lot of the issues and our pictures of him, he's looking straight up. Here's a shout out to some old stuff, looking like Barnabas Collins from Dark Shadows and a lot of the art.
Oh my God, Dark Shadows.
One of my favorite shows.
Manimal was even old enough yet. Jeez.
Come on, bro. You don't even know what I knows.
Oh, you don't even know what you know.
So Baron Winters, cool name, kind of a weak character. I don't know. I'd be interested to see where he'd show up. Sorcerer. Who knows?
My guess is he's going to be in next season of Teen Titans or Titans, the TV show or the DC Universe show.
He is created by Wolfman, which they're pretty strong. That Titans is doing a lot of Wolfman stuff. So
yeah, what kind of price sales data you got on this, Justin? And then we'll let Ryan expand on this more since he's a huge Titans fan.
Yeah, I mean, last sale only a 9.8 for $105. I mean, you can get them raw for definitely really cheap. I mean, this is a good 80s book. I mean, he's so weak that he's not even on the CGC label because it's the other character. So, but Ryan, what's the other good first appearance on this book?
Speak to the other appearance because there's multiple first appearances in this book.
Yeah, so the big one, the reason this book is 105 at a 9.8 is not because of Baron Winters. I can tell you that right now.
Shocking.
So
it's Night Force. It's got to be Night Force.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right. It's the first appearance of Brother Blood. And he is the leader of the Trigon cult, essentially. I mean, so with Trigon being in the first season, spoiler alert, of the Titan show, I spec'd hard on this book just because, yes, they used him in Arrow, but they used him horribly. And the fact that the Titan show is so accurate, we're going to hopefully see Brother Blood. I mean,
so it makes sense that it's reserved, and we're guessing he's going to be in Titans.
I'm thinking that's what I would.
Yeah, because it makes sense if they're part of Trigon. They already introduced Trigon a little bit. They really went away from him in season 2 to do the finale, which featured probably the worst death ever on screen. I believe. I won't leave any spoilers, but my God, how do you die from that? But anyway, we're not going to talk about how they died. But apparently they're going to come back for season 3. But man, they could have done that so much better. The rest of the show was going off so well, and then I was like, she died of that. Oh, he died of that. They died of that. Whatever, man. But little disappointing. Kind of like the last season, season 1. The finale also kind of let me down. Where
it was like that scene from Austin Powers. No, when that thing's rolling towards him.
Yeah. All right. And the next one is I have never heard of, but it makes sense. Since this movie is coming, we got word that this character was reserved, and the name of this character is Black Alice. I don't know who the hell it is, but all I know is this is their first appearance. Birds of Prey 76. What do you got on this, Manimal?
So, true story too. When you sent this, I didn't know who it was either until I kind of read about it. I know Black Alice from more of the modern stuff where she joins the Secret Six. They had a little mini series where it was with Bane and Ragdoll and Catman, and I recognized her from that. But basically, it's a character who can adopt powers of sorcerers and anyone who has a magical aspect to them. She borrows their powers. So she could be super powerful around characters like Black Adam, or she could be kind of weak around characters like Baron Winters. But you also have she doesn't have much control over her powers. It's not like the control that the mainstay characters have, but you know, an auxiliary character you could throw in pretty much any show probably.
I'm really digging that cover too. It looks very Michael Turner-esque. I don't know who did the cover, but those, like the chicks, that's a good looking cover, man. I don't know who did that, but I'm trying to look at the signature. What any sales data on this, Justin?
I mean, surprisingly, a 9.6 sold in September for $55, which is really odd. I mean, why would you just go out and buy a
never seen this book at all?
There's only about 2-3 books in this entire Birds of Prey run that's good, and for a number 76, just is really odd just to kind of get it out there. But there is a couple on eBay, which is there's only 3 of them on eBay. If you're looking for the cover, it's Jason Pearson who did the cover on this, as well as a few other ones.
That's a nice looking cover. I really like the way he drew them. It looks very Turner-esque for even for a book that came out in 2005, done by Gail Simone. So it's not bad at all, man. So that's it, boys and girls. A nice, crisp 30 minutes. There's about 90 of you watching. Really appreciate it. We try to fill an hour, but sometimes we don't. Ryan, you want to auction anything?
I would love to. I'm not prepared, so I will.
All right.
I'm gonna do one soon, though. I might.
Any questions from the live chat? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Did we ever talk about how to navigate a con?
No,
I don't think so. No.
No, we were going to talk about that in a collector series, and we never had like enough time to talk about it. So if you guys have any questions for the collector series, we can do a quick collector series now. If you have a question, pop it into the live chat. But I remember some people were asking about the proper etiquette of a Comic-Con, and I think I can do this one. Basically, when you're meeting creators or whatever, I would say, I don't know, chat them up or not. It's up to them. Sometimes if you want them to sign a book, you can ask them something. It really depends on how they're feeling that day. Some are very chatty. I've met Bob Layton, incredibly chatty. Mike Mignola, very chatty. Sergio Aragon's very chatty.
Steranko.
Blue Shirt Man, what's his name? Neil Adams.
Claremont talks a lot.
Yeah, Neil Adams, if you catch him on a good day, he'll chat you up. If sometimes he's feeling bad and you can't get anything for free. Basically, just deal with them and just remember they've been at a con all day long, but also remember you're a human just like they are, and they shouldn't disrespect you because you're a grown ass man, right? You know what I mean? Some of these guys some of the newer cats are better with social media and they can talk to people better. I mean, Neil Adams has a huge booth and he is very opinionated. So is Steranko, very chatty. So I would say, when you're going up there, just say, hey, how you doing? Sign this. And a lot of people, they want me, I don't really care about it. I'd rather get a facilitator to sign the books for me and walk around the floor. But some want to experience it, talk to somebody. Maybe they grew up with their comics. What do you guys say? What about you, Justin? When you go to a con, when you're doing signatures, you rather stand in line, do it yourself, or get a facilitator like Rocket Comics do it?
No, I mean, I definitely like to walk around and meet them. But the main thing, I think, if you want to talk about navigating a con, I think we should talk about the things to bring to a con, especially
deodorant and water.
Deodorant, water. I bring Advil. I bring snacks because you definitely when you're standing in line. Sometimes you forget when you're bouncing around to all the artists. You really need to be eating and drinking because that's the one thing that people forget, and then you crash.
For God's sakes, bring some breath mints. There'd be some people with some kicking ass breath.
And sanitizer too, man. That's another big one.
If you have
here's a question, Tim, real quick. Thunderhouse Design asks, does Rocket Comics do anything for resto removal?
I don't believe he does. The only really good people for that is, I would say, CGC. Because if somebody else does it, then CGC may count it as restoration. You know what I mean? You can ask him, but for the most part, CGC is probably the best people to do the restoration, especially if they graded it themselves. They have the notes. They know what to unrestore for per se. You know what I mean? And I've seen some people on Instagram post good results with CGC undoing the restoration, if that makes sense. Yep. So you can undo restoration, but reach out, talk to Rocket Comics, and he'll tell you his honest opinion. It doesn't cost any money to ask him questions, but ask him first. But I know CGC does offer it, and I've seen some good results with what CGC does. So that's another thing we could talk about is I've seen some people ballsy enough to buy a restored book, and they'll get the graders notes, and they'll submit it back to get back a blue. I mean, you guys have seen them on Instagram, right? Where they come back blue labels. It's not impossible. I've seen it happen.
Otto's got one. Otto had a first Vulture that was a purple label, took it under
Yeah.
stored. Even Very Gary
Hey,
came from here.
LZ Rally can talk about this since we were having troubles with this today. What do you guys think of the new GPA website? So if you notice, our GPA sales data was a little off today because we're having problems getting to the site.
If you can get in.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what, their old site was awful. It's such text-based heavy, it's god awful. God, get some graphics on there is what all I have to say. It's just so much data on there. It's hard. Also, I would say about a convention is when you go, get an idea. You know, typically they have a map and they show you where everybody is. Find out what you want to do so you can make most of your time, right? Figure out, okay, I'm going to get my books prepped and then I'm going to drop them off here and I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here and then get it all done. So if you're going to submit books to CGC, get there as soon as the show opens because there'll be a line throughout the entire day. If you need to get a facilitator, a CGC witness, good luck. That's why I use Rocket Comics because he's been doing this for years and years and years. I give him my books, he'll go around and then he submits them all at once and he's exhausted after that 3 days. But that's what that service is there for. Where if you're going to do it, if you're also going to get a book signed, I know a lot of us do this already, and a lot of facilitators do it for you that you don't know, but window your book before getting it signed. If you don't know what windowing is, CGC actually has videos of it on their YouTube channel. Basically what you do is you put it in a bag, you cut a hole in the bag, but then you put blue tape around it so they know where that hole in the bag is. Think about it. If you cut a clear plastic bag, how are you supposed to know where the hole is? Ooh,
exactly.
What she said. They used to sell window bags on Amazon or some site. They stopped selling it. It was just one giant big window, but you can be very specific. But be forewarned, some are very particular on where they sign. Like Claremont was very specific about X-Men books. He would only sign on the logo and nowhere else. And I think that was to pay respect to the artist that did the book. He didn't want to sign his name over artwork on the cover. So if you window an X-Men book and put it elsewhere besides the logo, Claremont may sign somewhere else. So just know that. Yeah, it is tricky when done in the dark. But look at the YouTube videos. There's tons of them. If you want to do that. Also, cracking a book before getting it signed. I think we talked about this briefly last week. If you get a facilitator like Rocket Comics or CGC to crack a yellow label and they sign it, it will retain the original signature and add on additional signature. If you ever seen a CGC label that has two signatures with different dates on it, that's exactly what happened. If you get a non-witness to do it, one of them is going to come back. What is it? What labels come back when it's is it
like a purple thin line and then yellow? So.
Yeah, which is awful because you look at it, go, oh, yellow, and then you look carefully, and you're like, oh man, there's purple behind it, man. Wuhong, did you miss anything important? Yeah, Dr. Doom. We reached out to our inside sources at Marvel, and he's not going to be in the Black Panther movie, at least not yet. We're hearing that Ryan Coogler wants to use Namor for the villain. And Sergeant Hulk, Sergeant Rock, and the Unknown Soldier are being reserved for Legend of Tomorrow. Bats, the Ghost Dog, being reserved for Doctor Strange movie and film, and then a Teen Titans book, and then a Birds of Prey book. God, you like the way I summarized that?
That was awesome.
That was good.
Well done. I'd like to add, if you're going to buy books, solely to go buy books, go on Sunday and wait until they're about to close, and you'll get your best deals.
Absolutely.
That is correct.
Because I think so many books from dealers that just want to get rid of shit.
Put it this way. They don't want to carry as much stuff out as they came in with on Sunday. A famous story is when I was at WonderCon and the Big To Do gave me a big box of porn because he didn't want to carry it around anymore. So I have a box full of Penthouse and Hustler comics. So and he made me do it so then we can go out to dinner. But let me see what else. So I would say also we could talk about it briefly. I would like
Comics 92. He's got a question. Do they guarantee the CGC Signature Series grade to come back the same on multi-signatures that they do not use? They didn't use 2 years ago. That's something that unfortunately you cannot guarantee. I mean, if you have a 9.8 and you're cracking it, and you already have a signature on it, and you're cracking it to add a signature, you're really rolling the dice. Or if you have no signature on it and you want to add some signatures, again, that you are really rolling the dice on that. Best thing to do is signatures, crack, add signatures, and I would even repress it again. Have CGC press it. You know,
My
You
rule
really
is
want-
never crack a 9.8.
Hmm.
Don't tempt the gods twice. You know what I'm saying? Be happy you got the 9.8 and just don't, don't deal with it. I wanted to get John on here to talk about how to do original art commissions at a show, which is very interesting and can be tricky in a way because our boy Ray Jr., I know tons of people who get burned. There's a group on Facebook that does original art sketches and whatnot. And remember when we had Ken Lashley on our show?
Yeah.
Ken Lashley is one of the cooler cats that
Oh, he's a
are
great
on
guy.
Artist Row. He doesn't have a fixed price. He says whatever your budget is, he will work within the constraints or restraints of your budget and give you what he can. So if you have $50 on a blank cover, he'll give you a $50 sketch. If you have $200, he'll give you $200. There's some cats like Adi Granov, Mark Brooks that are Art Germ famously like charges premium.
$1,000.
How much is Art Germ charge?
$350 for the pens, and then $1,000 for a full deal.
And how long does he quote you on turnaround time?
Well, I mean, if you do it at a show, he's doing it at the show.
Oh, really? See, that's not bad at all because sometimes think
But he
about
only
it.
takes a few. He takes very, very few compared
Yeah.
to like Ken. I know takes a ton. He takes. I mean, I've seen his list from like day one, and then he'll add to it if he can. Day 2, day 3, whatever it is. So
Yeah, so if you go there, if it's a 3-day show, go there Friday. Say, hey man, can I have this by Sunday? And you pick it up Sunday. It's really also on reputation. Like if you get some unknown dude and he says, yeah, I'll send it to you. I just saw somebody said they didn't get something and it took 6 months for them to go fight back and forth, get it. My man, Danny Silva, I've known for a long time. He also has his name with CGC. So when I get a sketch cover done, Ryan got one done too. Yeah. He can submit to CGC and it'll come back a yellow label. So a lot of times artists don't have that. It's pretty easy for the artist to get within the CGC registry to become a registered artist. If not, it just basically becomes a purple label and somebody drew art on the cover.
Green.
So but typically what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a sketch book, right? And have them
who
do
did that? Somebody on YouTube.
JB from Discovery Bay has a nice one.
Really cool.
It's small. It's maybe it's like a 6x6.
Man, that's so personal.
Good size
what did JB
because
know about you? Why are you talking about how small this thing is?
I measured it. I measured it in Baltimore.
No, I think that's a great idea. If you want to get like a bunch of head sketches or remarks, and you can get like sketchbooks from like pocket size on up to like full size, and then I think that's great. One year I had a friend to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and he brought a baseball bat and he got 50 signatures on it.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow. And the artists were just like, "This is a great idea. I want to sign your baseball bat." So he just walked around with a baseball bat. So you can really have. Can you slab art as well? Yes, you can. Yeah. Oh, that he's making that as an announcement. Yes, you can slab art. So there's 2 ways of doing it. You can get either a comic book label, 9.8. Hey, shout out to Pops Foster with a $20 super chat. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
great show. 150. Congrats, fellas. Thank you, Pops Foster, who is one of the admins of the Lord's comic investing page, where we got a group of about 200 or so people. Then we post just purely comic books and good spec. So thank you much, Pops. But it's a very exclusive group. So if you want to join the group, you got to get sponsored by another member because we don't want any shenanigans going on like it's going on Facebook right now. So thanks, Pops Foster, for handling that. So we're talking about art. There's different ways to do it. I personally like getting a blank cover, and I like getting a grade on it. Like I want that 9.8. Justin, do you have art slabs where it's the ART? It's the ART, right?
I think I actually have one. The only art one I have is CBCS. I don't have because I don't think CGC does the art on like a sketch, but I do have one. It's a Harley Quinn one.
Is that on a blank cover, or is that just a piece of art?
No. Keep talking. I'll pull it. I actually have it right here in my case.
Oh, keep
right,
talking.
So
I'll pull it.
I am going to keep talking. Yes, Who Dat Comics, you are okay to join because you know us. So Pops Foster, if Who Dat Comics joins, make sure you get his. I don't know if he's Who Dat Comics on Facebook, but if put your government name in there, and Pops Foster will send you an invite. So I thought it was a yellow label.
It is.
It is. The thing is, so this had what had happened was. I had to send a verified one. Yeah, it was verified as a sketch by Chad Harding. because that's how I graded it. But there's other signatures on here. There is Darwin Cook, literally the month before he passed away. And then who else is on here? I have Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor are on here as well.
Well, since we're doing show and tell, and then I'll show what I have as art.
Yeah, that's dope.
This is a Star Wars #1 blank, and this is Day of the Dead Princess Leia that I had our friend Danny Silva Designs create for me. I love this. People have offered me $600 for it, and I've kept this one. I also have a Joker lowrider one. I have the first Spider-Gwen Day of the Dead as well that I sold to a couple in Hawaii who really wanted it. But this one right here, if you notice, that doesn't matter. As long as this cover is all black, this is a 9.8, and this is Danny Silva. It was with CGC, so I got this. So starting bid $1. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
I'll show one that I know.
Yeah, Ryan actually has the first appearance of the Lords of the Long Box.
Well, that's in a box somewhere. I'm just gonna show this one. I got this from William Mesner Loebs. It's a little homage to the
that's
Tech
cool.
38 using Flash and Kid Flash.
Yeah. We should have set up Ryan. Ryan actually has himself
I'll go find it.
He's a zombie on a cover and wearing a Lords of the Long Box shirt. So that's the first ever appearance of Lords of the Long Box on the cover of a comic book.
True first.
Manimal, you got any art?
I don't really do the art thing, man. That's not
That's
really
something you want to get into. I mean, I guess you're the newest collector out of us. Is that something when you look at original art, is it like daunting or overwhelming, or what do you think about it? Is this not your cup of tea, or what do you think?
It's never really been my thing, art. I'm more about the story and the writing. That's always been my thing. I just, don't get me wrong, if I see cool artwork, I'm like, yo, that's awesome. But it's never anything I seek out. I do like going to the cons, and if I find like some good art, like what do I got?
You like prints? Yeah,
prints. I like a good print here and there, but nothing crazy, man. It's not really my thing.
It gets very, very expensive to the point my guy, Jane guy, he sold off his combo collection and just to get his original art, because original art, there's websites for it, and it is really, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for.
That's like the big boy collecting right there.
Yeah, and then there's two types of original art. One is where I get Art Germ to draw me something on 11 by 18. Mm-hmm. The other original art is buying the actual original art from a comic book, right? Like a page.
Pages, cover,
right?
Yeah, that we're talking 500-600. I don't know where it is, but I have something that was given to me by our friends at Comics MV, and it's an original art from a Bruce Lee comic on the internals, the internal pages of a Bruce Lee comic, and that's about it. But I know Jimmy C has deep into original art. Once you start seeing, and
fail everybody, I couldn't find it. It's buried deep somewhere.
And the thing about original,
I'll show you guys the next time.
The thing about original art is, man, you got to be careful to get it from a reputable source, because there are bootlegs out there, just like everything else. People pirate that stuff, and that poor guy on Instagram we always bring up, but he thought he had Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, but they were faked with everything. So, but what's awesome about this is when you get original art, you can frame it. I mean, it literally becomes, we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars worth of art. And so
I have this from Emma Kubert.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
dig that. I like that. And I like those, look like soft, almost
it's
like
watercolor.
pastel watercolors.
Yeah, she watercolored it.
Yeah. Oh, it is watercolor.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I also got something from our friend Danny Silva, and he, you know how you take something and you wrap it around a frame? You know what I'm talking about? Like that kind of canvas. Yeah. He did a piece for me on a canvas that I hung that I got for my girlfriend for her birthday, which is 3 of our dogs that passed away is on there. But all of my dogs are named after Star Wars characters. So it's Vader, Leia, and Padme walking across the Rainbow Bridge, because there's a poem about when dogs pass away that they cross over the Rainbow Bridge to where they're happy with treats and they're no longer sad. So I gave her this and she started crying. I sent a picture to Dan. I go, hey, you did a great job. Cause it meant something, and that's what art should be. You know what I mean? So, man, might as well get Danny Silva to be a sponsor of the show. Check out Danny Silva Designs, awesome. Man. He's always doing cool stuff. He I would say he's really good at, it's kind of what would you say it is? It's like he miniaturizes horror things.
Yeah,
like
does,
he makes like
he
cute
does really
zombies.
cool,
If that makes sense.
Yeah, cute stuff like Calvin and Hobbes type stuff with like
Cute
Star Wars
zombies.
figures.
Yeah, I mean, our boy Wolverine got Jim Lee's X-Men #1 zombitized.
Zombified.
Zombified. Yeah, they're basically all zombies on the cover. So you got like it's interesting because Cyclops made out of metal, but he made him like flesh falling off him and shit. So it's pretty cool. But like Danny Silva goes to WonderCon, Long Beach Comic Con. He does like all the local art shows here. I always run. He's at my LCS on Free Comic Book Day, so he's always doing some cool challenges. So check out Danny Silva Designs on Twitter and Facebook, man. And then one day Ryan will show
I'll
the
find it. I'm
zombified version of Ryan.
I'll find it. I'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah, so we have effectively stretched for as long as we can. So we are going to leave right now. Make sure you go check out the Comic Core live right after us, the Comic Core on Facebook. Manimal, any last words?
Nope. Just thanks for coming by, guys.
All right. Justin, last words, please.
Yeah, guys, check out 3 Men in a Basement. I just posted a video this week of my Black Friday comic haul. We are doing a live video next Friday. We have a huge unboxing, probably the biggest one that the channel's had. Between my books, my boy Dave in the Cave, and Bernie 1869, I'm thinking we're having about 40 to 50 books unboxed. So next Friday night, it's going to be a huge show, guys.
As of right now, 3 Men in a Basement are officially at 961 subscribers. They are trying to get to 1,000. When hit 1,000 subscribers, they are going to give away $1,000.
Close. We're giving away a Venom Lethal Protector #1, 9.8, signed by 8 different people, as well as a remark on there. So check out that video. Sub up.
8 times signed CGC yellow labeled, and it's still a 9.8. So there's the link.
Make sure you Comics for that. That was a nice little thing for that they gave us. So.
Hey, Lords, any regrets, bad deals from your early days you take back? About 50% of them. Shit, man. Yeah. I'd tell you one that really grinds me is I traded or I thought I sold was first appearance of Spider-Gwen, the Greg Land variant in a 9.8 signed by Greg Land. 9.8, dude, and I bought that for cover price when it came out. I can
beat you. I can beat you.
All right, I know you got some horror stories.
Oh my god, this is the worst.
I know your
horror
horror story. Yeah.
Yeah, let's lean back for a good hour. Go ahead, Ryan. Tell us your sad stories.
I'm sweating already. It's like, what do they call it? Never mind.
So
anyway,
is it going to be your Justice League story? Or
it's the Justice
else?
League story.
Is that the one that was stolen?
No, that was actually a Action Comics 252.
Oh man! All right, tell them both because they're both pretty sad stories.
That was the first appearance of Brainiac. I had bought it from a dealer, and I posted it on eBay to sell it. I bought it for a good price. I thought I was going to make at least $1,000 on it, and I get a phone call from Detective so and so from like Illinois. And he's like, this book has been reported stolen, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put you in contact with the owner. I'm like, fuck, I'm out of $2,500 or however much, I think I paid like 16. I'm like, I'm out $1,600. The guy actually paid me for it because he got insurance claim. So that's kind of
So he sold it on eBay not knowing it was stolen.
Right. I had
so
no
you
idea.
bought ill-gotten goods like from another person who got ill-gotten goods.
Yes, but thank God I didn't lose. You know what I mean? I got some money out of it. I didn't make my 1,000 that I thought I was going to make, but I broke even. Now, the non-breaking even story, early on, I met a guy. I didn't really know him very well. It was an Instagram or a Craigslist buy, and I had bought a bunch of stuff from him, and he had a Justice League #1. It was raw. I wasn't really good at grading. I have, at that time, no clue. But we both agreed that we thought it was going to be at least a 5.0. I thought with a press and a clean, it would come back a 6. I spent $2,500 on it because at that time, it was before the Justice League movie came out. It was like right around that time when it was like getting heat. I sent it in for grading, pressed and cleaned it. Had Rocket Comics actually press and clean it for me. And it comes back restored with 3 trimmed edges.
Oof.
So there's no taking the restoration out of a 3 trimmed edges. So I ended up selling it for $600.
Damn. Oh.
Yep.
So that is part of learning as a collector on what how to look for, trimmed edges. And that's why sometimes we
I had no
say
idea.
on a big boy book, it's almost better to get it slabbed because
Lesson
especially
learned.
when you're buying from a third party, that CGC there is kind of the third party arbiter, or person to tell you that, hey, we have looked at this book. It's no restoration on it, and this is what we decided the grade is. And sometimes, you're going to spend more, but you have that peace of mind knowing if you're buying a 5.5, it's a 5.5.
Exactly.
On eBay, there are some good buy sellers, but there's also some unscrupulous
That's why
ones.
CGC exists, is because on eBay back in the day, people were buying restored books for regular price.
Yeah.
And
Let me tell you,
they stepped in and they filled a void, and it saved buyers.
I'll tell you my story of when I bought Tales of Suspense, my first appearance of Hawkeye. And this was back when I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a PGX book. I'm going to crack it and send it to CGC. I'm going to press it to get a higher grade. I bought a Tales of Suspense first appearance of Hawkeye. I think it was like a 5.5. I took it, cracked it, submitted it. It came back a restored 4.5. So it dropped the whole grade and it had trimmed edges. Because when I posted it on Facebook or Instagram, I go, hey, I just got this first Hawkeye. Look at this PGX books. And people one guy commented, says, looks like the pages are trimmed. I was like, God
That
damn, now
sucks.
that you say it, I look at it, I go, oh man, sure enough, it just came back and I had to sell it as a restored label. I mean, that,
So-
luckily that book, at the time wasn't that high. It wasn't like I paid thousands of dollars for it. But when you start going and spending that much, make sure you deal with a reputable dealer like Greg Reese Rare Comics or somebody like that, or your LCS, or if you even there's stories of people who back in the wild west days of comic book collecting in 2014, 15, people used to switch out comic books from slabs.
Oh, there was that Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue.
That's the most famous one, is the PGX that somebody swapped out a first print for like a third print, and they put it in it. Because if you remember, you got to remember what the old cases were, very easy to crack and put a book back in. Nowadays, they're very hard to crack, and there's an inner well, so it's really hard to pirate them nowadays. But back in the day, man, there used to be some crazy stuff out there, man. I think we talked about it before. Back in the day on eBay, you had to mail your payment before somebody would mail you a comic book.
I did that for Batman #2. I mailed it to someone, a cashier's check.
Yeah. So back in like the early
And
days
I
of
crossed my
eBay,
fingers. And I
those
mean,
days.
thank God it worked out. But that was a
I got
rough week.
in 2000, right around there, 1999, I got my Hulk 181, Giant Size X-Men, and X-Men 94. And I bought them through eBay. And when I won it, I sent them a money order. Once I received a money order and it cleared, they would mail me the comic. And one time I got the first appearance of the first appearance of Swamp Thing, the Tales of what is that? The House of Mystery book?
House of Secrets.
Yeah, House of Secrets book. They mailed it back to me, and my mailman folded it in half and shoved it in my mailbox.
Oh, my
because they didn't because nowadays people say do not bend. Well,
Right.
he just bent it in half, and basically if it didn't have a subscription crease before, it did now. So I pull up, I go, are you kidding me, right? I said, no. I submitted it for grading, and it came back like a 5.5, 6.0. I sold that. But remember, back in the day, I was submitting books to CGC in like 2000, 2001, and there was no pressing back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sent it in as you got it. So, man, imagine I had a Hulk 181 that was an 8.5. Imagine if I pressed it, it could have been maybe a 9.2, 9.4.
Nice.
But
So-
I sold off my collection in 2003, so they're out there in the void.
Here's a quick story about beware of cracking a book to get it signed or whatever. So I had a situation recently. It was just at the last C2E2. I had a 9.6 DC Presents 26. I didn't look it over before I sent it in to get cracked. I wanted it to get double signed by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, which it did. It came back a 9.0 because it had a rusted staple. And I didn't catch it before I cracked it. Had I not cracked it, it would have still been a 9.6. Ugh.
Damn.
Yeah. A lot of times, man, I see people like, hey, man, should I crack this 9? I was like, man, 9.6s and 9.8s. I just have bad luck sometimes. So I'm just like, you know what? just not gonna tempt the gods. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep it as is. But anyway, any last words, Ryan, before we got on a little tangent?
no.
You should have never asked us about regrets, because I think we go on for another hour about the longer you collect, the more regrets you'll have. I think
I have many. It's a fun story time with Ryan. But yeah, no, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. All your support. 150 episodes. We started in January of 2016. I can't believe here we are in December and we're still going strong. Let's do 150
so we're gonna have an
more.
Anniversary show in January, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Maybe we'll have to do some giveaways.
All right, Ryan, you got anything you want to auction right now? You got some Batman books?
Batman #2. We'll start it at.
Here we go. Let's go.
All right, Scott, put your bids in there. Batman #2.
Justin's already ready, man.
Hello, everybody.
Brad, you guys missed the last Lord's auction.
Out of this,
Ryan went buck wild with Detective Comics and Batman Comics.
Hey, I wasn't lying. When I told you I was going to bring it, I brought it.
I think he still has a bunch left. We ran out of time. It was
3 boxes. Oh, now I no more 10-cent issues, but I have a bunch of 10, 12, and 15 centers.
You know what? I would say we should do another auction right around when people get their tax returns.
I'm ready.
February, right around there.
I even have a ton of Marvel. I mean, I've got old Fantastic Four, all sorts of stuff. So whatever you guys want, I'm putting.
I think
it'd
be hard right now. I mean, unless
not
people
now.
Just
It's too close to Christmas.
I was gonna say some of you people are really selfish, don't care about giving gifts. You just want to hey, as a collectors, man, I'm gonna go look for Olaf the Clown number 198.
Okay,
right now.
first of all, that's what I wanted to say. We missed Otto today, but I want to thank you for taking his place by mispronouncing Abonaxo this whole show. It's Obnoxio.
Obnoxio.
Not
like
Abonaxio. It's not the Green Lantern from friggin' that gave the ring to.
It was super obnoxious of you to say that.
That obnoxious of me to call him
Obnoxious.
Obnoxio.
Anyway, there's a chat link for the Geeky Swag Shop to get the sweatshirts. They are 20% off right now for Cyber Week. So go hit up our friends at the Geeky Swag Shop and get yourself a Lord of the Long Box sweatshirt. I got one on right now, and I'm really nice and warm. Matter of fact, I'm starting to sweat up in here. But
I ordered 2 today.
There you go. And I think everybody order them, because I don't think he has to order like 20 of them before they can ship. So Chad Crow was the first one.
You get $10 off right now.
There you go, man. Right now, they're 40 and 32. So it's not something you normally do. So hit up the Geeky Swag Shop. Thank you for joining us, boys and girls. We'll be back next Wednesday or not. That all depends. It's the holidays, so we're a little wishy-washy. So if we have stuff, we'll come on. But, you know.
I want to do a New Year's wasted show, but whatever.
Oh, we'll be back Sunday, speaking of wasted, because it's Manhole's birthday, and we got to do our countdown to Infinite Crisis review of Batwoman and Supergirl.
So I got to spend 2 hours of my birthday watching it.
And then another hour with
another hour talking about it.
Hey, that's a hell of a birthday if you ask me.
How long you can stay awake. So look out for that, man. We've been talking about it for a while, so hopefully it won't be a letdown. So, and hopefully Manimal will be super drunk.
Yes.
Good.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. As always, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.